Hey, Jeff McDaniel with the Bible Bootcamp podcast. Man, we're back. It's been a minute since the last episode, probably several months. And as you can see, I'm flying solo today. Normally it's Jessica and I, and hopefully after March 22nd, we will return to she and I doing these on a more consistent schedule. Speaking of March 22nd, that's the wedding date. And man, like, I'm going to guess a lot of you guys are married. If so, you remember like the weeks and months leading up to the wedding. It's a slice of insanity. I guess being naive, hey, you just show up, you say I do, you go off on your honeymoon. There are so many things to it. So it's been hard for our schedules to align. Not to mention, she lives in Star City, which is an hour plus away from Little Rock. So it's hard for us to get together and do these. After the wedding, it will be in the same household, which, by the way, like, people find this shocking, right? What are you listening to? This is a Bible Bootcamp podcast, okay? It's a Christian podcast. And people are like shocked that we're not already living together, like we're supposed to be shacking up before the wedding. Come on, man. Bible Bootcamp. You know where you're at. So no, we're not. We will, I'll move in March 22nd. Actually, a week in Jamaica. So March 29th, March 30th, something like that. And then hopefully we can get back to this. So here's what I want to do. Two things I want to talk about today. One, speaking of that, kind of the vision for 2025. And then I want to touch on, this is interesting, the latest video I posted to our YouTube channel and on Facebook, Instagram. It's on Bulletproof Coffee. Got some interesting feedback about it. I want to talk about that in depth a little bit. But first, I want to kind of lay out what this is. So Bible Bootcamp. This all started, by the way, if you don't know, just a quick history. Some of you that have followed us, you kind of, not only do you know this, you probably lived this experience, but this started back in 2019. I used to own a gym, and we started a Bible study in the gym for people who want to learn more about the Bible. And it was all based around, verse by verse teaching, meaning we're not doing themes, we're not doing, kind of what the typical preacher series, right? Verse by verse commentary. And people really enjoyed it. It was in person, but then soon after that, the pandemic hit. We had to close down the gym. And then Bible Bootcamp kind of transitioned to online, putting out weekly lessons, video format, study guides, all that stuff. And then once we could come back into the gym, we kind of had a little bit of both. There was a period of time we had both in-person and a digital platform that we were putting out Bible content. Fast forward to 2014, big transition year for me. Closed the gym down, and in the process kind of closed down the in-person ministry because there's no gym. And kind of getting ready for the wedding. But we kind of launched this podcast to kind of keep going with a little bit more of this Bible study format. And so we're doing something with our YouTube channel. That's going to take place, but you're going to hear about Train for Life. What is Train for Life? Well, last summer, kind of entered into a partnership with a ministry called LifeWord. LifeWord has been around 40 plus years, maybe longer, but they started out as a radio ministry, and then they transitioned a few decades, maybe 2 decades ago, into a video ministry, and they put out video content globally, around the world, targeted countries, trying to get the gospel out into all sections of the planet. And they use video to kind of, it's the Great Commission. It's what it is. And so one thing they didn't have was anything in the fitness lane. There is a demographic of people that are really into fitness. You may be one of them, and they're into their health. They take this stuff seriously. And so, they approached me about producing content, basically doing what I've always done, 3 to 5 minute little spots, sometimes long form or short form video content on health, wellness, nutrition, you name it, but do it with a gospel application, or at least point them to the Lord in some way, And I found that fascinating. I don't really see it being done anywhere right now. And so, okay, so we started this partnership, and the first thing was like, okay, they said Bible Boot Camp, great ministry, like what you're doing. We can't use that name because, I mean, like you got to think normal, like the secular world. Uh, they're not going to. A lot of people are not going to click on a video if it sounds churchy, and using the word Bible is not going to engage with the world, the masses. We talk about the Great Commission. We got to go out there and, you know, um, as Paul talks about, when you're speaking to the Romans, be Roman. And so we need to find a way to kind of appeal to these people, and not like a bait and switch, not like, hey, I'm going to teach you about fitness. Oh, by the way, um, you need a savior, but do it in a way that engages them. So anyway, that's kind of what the whole concept was. But the first pushback was, look, can't use Bible Boot Camp. Love it for your ministry, but we got to have something a little bit less Christiany or that type of thing. So I prayed about it, and this was literally an answered prayer. Ask the Lord what to call. I'm like, man, I've been using this title for 5 years now, and within about 3 minutes, it just came to me. And I don't think it just was random. I think it's one of those prompting of the spirits. I mean, if you've never had that, I've had a few times in my life, but it's really like, I hear you, Lord. It's a still small voice, right? Train for life. And which is perfect, because it is kind of what we're doing. I mean, from a purely fitness standpoint, you're training for life. You're training your body, right? Your health, whether that's flexibility, core, balance, strength, you name it, all those components of fitness. But train for life, it's mental, physical, spiritual. It's all of it. So it's not hiding anything. It's not secretly putting in the gospel message in there. Really, I tell them in the tagline, it's train for life, physical education, and spiritual culture. And I kind of went with that as the subtitle. Not biblical culture, I would like it to be, but again, biblical that's going to close some doors that need to be open. So a spiritual culture. People can, even the most secular people can connect with, there's a spirit about us as humans. So anyway, that's just where the title Train for Life came from. And I'm going to continue on with our YouTube channel. And Bible Boot Camp's a part of this. So overarching, we're training for life, but there's going to be a Bible Boot Camp component, which is for those that will really take this Bible a little bit more seriously. Not everybody does. Some people are more into other things within their faith, and that's fine. There are people that just want to know more about the Word of God. So Bible Boot Camp is going to be a part of this. But I guess I always call it like being a spiritual entrepreneur. Chuck Missler, I think, is one that kind of coined this term. One of my favorite commentators ever, probably my number one guy. The spiritual entrepreneur. It's firemen and policemen and doctors and lawyers and business owners who are entrepreneurs out there in the world, but secretly they're bringing the gospel, right? That's their mask. I call it the Clark Kent glasses. Clark Kent is a reporter at the Daily Planet. He reports the news. He's an investigative journalist, right? Really, he's Superman. He's saving the day. He's saving the world, right? But so I kind of think of that as Train for Life is the Clark Kent glasses. Bible Boot Camp is what it's really about. Getting people, bringing the word to the world. Anyway, so that's kind of how the differentiation between Bible Boot Camp and Train for Life is. And we're going to, as we go forward, this is going to be a Bible Boot Camp podcast, and Train for Life is kind of more of a broader appeal. And I got people that are on our YouTube channel, just like the fitness part. They don't really care about the Bible. That's fine. We're going to be faith and fitness based. And that's what I want to put out is here's some fitness content for people. And this is kind of a good segue into the video I posted, which is on Bulletproof Coffee. Okay, so this is interesting. When I first came into the fitness industry, mid-2000s, this wasn't a thing at all. And a few years in, I kind of remember hearing about the concept of Bulletproof Coffee. If you're not familiar with it, here it is. And by the way, you got to keep two things. There is the brand Bulletproof Coffee. I think it's I don't know what their website is, maybe bulletproof.com or something like that. But there's Bulletproof Coffee, the brand. Then there's the philosophy of Bulletproof Coffee. And I think you can research this. Dave Asprey, he's the CEO. He kind of launched it and started it. Puts out some good stuff. I don't look. It's like a lot of things probably you follow. I don't agree with 100% of everything they put out. I don't, but some of it's good stuff. And I think back in the early 2000s, see if I get this story right. He took a trip to Tibet, I believe. They were traveling, doing some hiking, and you got to take some food and water with you, stay hydrated, and some nutrition too. And so, you have to pack your food. And one thing I think they had them do was they took tea. It's Asia, tea's big. By the way, tea is very undervalued in our culture, very, very much so. You live here in the South, people just know it as sweet tea. But, you look at the Asian cultures, I don't want to get too far off track, but I might do a podcast on this. I'm going to write on this for sure. But, you look at we're talking about for thousands and thousands of years, kind of like the medicine of the ancient cultures was tea leaves. It's like, look at what we do today. If you get a cold, here's the medicine you take for it. If you get a flu, here's the medicine you buy. You got upset stomach, here's what medicine you take. We know that. We go to a pharmacy, we go to the drug section in the stores we shop at. That's what we do. We know it. Hey, you take this for that, you take this for that, you got a headache, this is what you take. We pop the pills, okay? That's our culture. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, they didn't have a Walgreens. What did they do? They studied tea leaves. Oh, you got a headache. Here's a tea to cure your headache. Oh, you're having trouble sleeping at night. Here's your sleepy time tea to help you get better rest. Oh, you need more energy. Here's your tea for this. Oh, you need more mental focus. Here's your tea for this. Oh, you got a cold. Here's what tea leaf you take. You got you're running a fever. Here's what tea. I mean, it's like, what's the what was the store they used to have? They may still have it here in Little Rock. Teavana. You went in there and there's like 1,000 different teas. That was essentially something like that was the pharmacy of the ancient days. I mean, tea is, there's so many benefits to it. I don't want to get off track, but I mean, I might do a series on that. Tea is very undervalued. I've really gotten into it lately, studying the different benefits, vitamins, and nutrients that you get from certain tea leaves. But anyway, that being said, back to the Bulletproof story. He's in Tibet. They've got tea that they're taking, so there's some antioxidants and some hydration, and they would blend, I think it was yak butter. So butter from yaks. They probably don't have a lot of cows over there, but they have yaks, and they would take the butter. So they would blend it into the tea, and then that provide them with some nutrition on the hike. Okay, that's kind of the story. You can research that. He comes back to the States. It's like, okay, we don't have yaks running around a lot in America, but we have cows, and you could take butter and blend this in. So in particular, like grass-fed butter, which has so many health benefits, blend that into your tea or coffee, right? So you could do either one. And that's where the concept of Bulletproof Coffee came from. So what it was teaspoon or tablespoon of grass-fed butter, teaspoon or tablespoon of coconut oil or MTC oil. So what you're getting right here is, and by the way, there's so many benefits to this. I used to do segments for Channel 11. I would do the morning show or the Vine, and I would do these segments on Bulletproof Coffee, talking about this, and I would get so much feedback, like, man, like, because what you're doing, it's fat coffee. You're blending fats into your coffee. So you're adding more calories to it. They'd be like, gosh, man, all these fats, like, that's crazy. And, but I had to talk to him about like the benefits of this. So in particular, like omega-3 fats, another thing that's undervalued in our society. I mean, we're talking omega-3 fats. You've got heart health, you've got brain health, you've got bone and joint health, eye health, health for your skin and hair. I mean, it goes on and on. Mind. brain, your mental health, all these things are attributed and benefited by omega-3 fats. So you want to get some of these in. You can get them through, fatty fish, the omega-3 in the eggs, all these things and grass-fed butter. So putting that in your coffee adds a lot of nutrition to your coffee. Here's another thing you do. It's you also oh yeah, didn't read my notes. Vitamin K, vitamin K, vitamin A, and vitamin D, all found in grass-fed butter. So it's a nutritious. I mean, people are like, oh, butter, man, that's not good for you. No, grass-fed butter is actually just the opposite. It's great, and find ways of getting it into your diet. Now, a couple things. You put that in with some MTC oil or coconut oil, you're doing a couple things. You're fueling up your morning. Now, two approaches. I just talked about the benefits of that. It can also be used as a great weight loss. Not everybody tries to get into ketosis or do a keto diet, but if you are, this is one of the things you try to do is increase your fat. So it's like, what's a typical breakfast? I mean, people go, they'll run into wherever, Starbucks, you name it, favorite coffee shop, bagel, or if they're home, they were making breakfast. It's pancakes, waffles, sugary carbs, right? Donuts. These are all high calorie, high sugar, high carb foods. And when you put that in your system right off the bat in the morning, you are getting a blood sugar increase. It's impacting your insulin, and it's literally turning off your body's ability to burn fat for fuel. So you experience weight gain. And there's a whole interesting thing about your body's response to producing insulin is to lower the blood sugar. It's like the temperature gets too hot and the air kicks on to lower it down. So that's what it has to lower that down. And you actually feel hungry, even though, and like the classic, kids will have the moms will feed them cereal, orange juice before they go off to school. Carb, 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 sugar, sugar, sugar. That's what that turns into. Hour and a half later, the kid's starving at school. Well, they said breakfast. Yeah, but they feel hungry because all those sugary carbs kicks in. The insulin lowers your blood sugar level, makes you feel hungry, and you start consuming more calories. All right. That being said, fat's really good. Now, it's not for everyone. And I have been coaching nutrition since 2006. I've been studying nutrition since 1996. So that's nearly 30 years I've been in it. Here's my big takeaway from all things diet nutrition. There is not a one size fits all. It's different for everyone. Why? Because God made you different. That sounds bad. He made you unique. You have a unique fingerprint. You have a unique DNA. You have a unique makeup, metabolism, everything. So there are some standard guidelines that hey, this is good, protein, fruits and vegetables, fiber, hydration. Those are kind of standards, but it's different for everyone. And a higher fat, low carb diet is not going to be for every person. That's what I found. But for a lot of people, it can. So anyway, check that out. I'll post a video that you can watch. I've got a recipe I put out, kind of how to do it. There's a little PDF infographic. You can watch the video. I'd love to get some feedback. If you've tried Bulletproof Coffee, what you think? Some people like the taste of it. It is frothy, but it's not for everybody. Number one, coffee is not for everyone. Coffee, by the way, is very, I don't want to say divisive, but there's definitely some anti-coffee segment, even in the health and fitness field. It's like, oh man, it's bad. You need to cut your caffeine out. Listen, again, there's not a one size fits all. There's study after study of, 2+ cups of coffee per day, how good it is for your heart. Then other people say, oh man, you got a bad heart, cut out caffeine. So anyway, there's both sides. And by the way, it's like anytime I study both sides, I see the validity in both sides. That being said, I drink coffee. And so I'm a fan of Bulletproof Coffee. But check it out and see what you think about it. By the way, one last thing on that. So it's used for, this is my point I was trying to get into. It's used for weight loss because you think back to the cereal and the bagels and the pancakes and all that stuff. Or even if you just skip breakfast altogether, this provides you something, sustained energy. You get some fuel, fat for fuel for hours. Whereas just coffee by itself, there's not a lot to it. So if you're active, you're on the go, you're working, you'll probably, you're using more fuel. And so coffee doesn't provide a lot. Give you a little bit of energy, but having these fats will give you sustained energy for hours. So, I've used it in the past, just like with weight loss clients. I get them to, hey, let's eliminate the bagels in the morning and the donuts and the OJ, and let's use this, especially if they're coffee drinkers. To me, it's a no-brainer. Like, you've got fuel, you'll be satisfied till lunchtime, and so you've eliminated a lot of the carb calories that probably are tripping you up. So anyway, that's that. Check out that video and let me know what you think on Bulletproof Coffee. And we might try to do one more. Oh, by the way, if you don't mind, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get the numbers up. I know every YouTube video asks you to do the same thing, but it's hot. The YouTube algorithm is tough. If people don't engage with the video, it doesn't get seen. And I really have a mission of getting more Bible content out. That's kind of my goal. We got 3 weeks to the wedding. I'm hoping I can get Jessica and I together for one more before the wedding and just talk about, there's so many topics we've said, hey, let's do a podcast on this. And that's really what this is. She and I kind of sharing. And oh, by the way, this is the first video podcast. So I can't guarantee that I can make her do a video podcast, but I'm going to try. All right. That's it, guys. Let me know what you think. Check out that video below. And if you will, subscribe to our channel, and we'll be talking to you soon. Have a blessed weekend. I'm doing this on, Friday at noon, so I don't know when you'll see this, but I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. And, one of my sign-offs for Bible Bootcamp, all the studies for like years, was always remember Romans 8:28. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. My man, going back to Chuck Missler, always said, always make sure, look through your Bible, make sure Romans 8:28 is still in there. If it is, everything's good. So I'll leave you with that, and catch you next time. Take care.